Games on Scratch is, you should know this by now. Watch the first video for a proper introduction. Anyways, Friday Night Funkin' is a rhythm game that was originally made in just 2 days. The game is open source, meaning anyone could go in and edit the game files, whether it's for character skins or entire new weeks. I was expecting to come in and see a bunch of people recreating the game and reimagining it, with their own twist and personal flair. But because FNF is open source, this means that people don't necessarily have to create their own assets. They could just use the files from the game. This leads to a majority of games being direct remakes of FNF. And while that's cool enough to see, these aren't interesting enough to be worth talking about. So in order to find any sort of games that pique my interest, I had to go through a lot of games, which, as you might imagine, brings me down some weird rabbit holes. But every once in a while, between the direct remakes and concept checks, I find something that's actually somewhat entertaining. The only issue is that there's nothing to these. What do you want me to say about this that you can't already tell just by looking at it? And just as a side note to Scratch devs, putting playable in your title should mean that it's a playable rhythm game, not that the characters move when you hit the keys. There's a difference. One has actual gameplay and the other is just 4 animations with no substance. So after many years of spending my life searching for a singular game to talk about, I finally found something with potential. My final bit of hope lies in a game simply called Friday Night Funkin' Remake. As you can see, I think I set the bar pretty high with that one. Welcome to FNF on Scratch. First we have FNF Scratched Engine Plus. So we're playing against a collection of purple squares, and the only song in the game is a sped up version of the song from the main menu. The notes were kinda just thrown in randomly and you hit them when they show up. Then it just kinda ends. This is one of the games I deemed good enough to talk about. Another decently interesting game I found is one by the name of Trouble FNF. While the song was taken from the Sonic.exe mod, the developer at least used assets that weren't from the original game, and it gives the game a style that stands out by comparison. The animations are actually pretty fluid, all things considered, but besides that, there still isn't much to talk about. Pretty good game, I guess. Here's FNF Scratched. So the song Pico from the original game plays in the background, and some notes drop in every once in a while for you to hit. Each note gets Boyfriend to make a different sound, so you could do stuff like this. The graphics are a bit weird looking. The notes aren't the usual FNF ones, and the characters seem to be vectors while the background is just a regular image. And your reward for beating the level is to play it again. Overall, it's alright. Here we have 2 different games, both called Friday Night Funkin' Cat Mod. These games both attempt to make Boyfriend rap against the cat from scratch. The first one has you hit 6 notes, then leaves you in purgatory, never to leave or see your loved ones again. And the second one is somehow weirder. This game has Boyfriend and the Scratch Cat have a rap battle on a real PNG image of a beach. All the while, the background song you're singing is from a mod where you rap against the Roblox noob skin. The charting isn't the worst thing I've ever played, but there's a noticeable delay between the sounds and the arrows. This game also never ends, like the last 2. Next we have Dumb Friday Night Funkin'. I was really hoping this game would be something that's actually a bit funny, but looking at it you could tell that it's obvious satire. This game is basically trying to copy the mod FNF but bad. The creator, MegaMan9009, actually did a pretty good job with everything. I know that FNF mods of any level of quality take a lot of dedication, no matter how bad they might look on the surface. So I could only imagine how much work went into recreating a whole game for the sake of one joke. But the big issue with it is, well, it just isn't funny. I know humor is subjective and all that, and I'm sure someone might find this funny, but I feel like laughing at this game goes against what makes the concept of it funny. Seeing something bad isn't automatically funny. It's seeing someone attempt to do something and fail that makes it fun to laugh at. By making a bad game as a joke, you're ultimately not making a funny joke, you're just making a bad game. This game at least does something interesting though. The usual arrow order is swapped, not just from the original game, but also between levels. They actually did something pretty cool here. Week 3 is also different. This means that I have to play against my existing muscle memory, and it leads to a more interesting gameplay gameplay loop. I'd love to see an actual mod implement that as a gimmick, because I could definitely see the potential here. I'll also give props for all the assets being original, but besides a few things I like about it, I felt more indifferent than you might hope for. Next up is FNF Playable Huggy Wuggy. This is one of the weird ones. So this game has you, Huggy Wuggy from the video game Poppy Playtime, going up against the Scratched Cat, I think. He doesn't seem to be doing very well, as you could see by his uncontrollable twitching and the constant look of pain in his eyes. This one plays out like your usual FNF mod. There are 3 songs that get harder as you go, as well as a bonus 4th song that's apparently supposed to be a joke, although it's actually charted decently while, albeit, a bit on the spammier side. The songs sound pretty good, and I'm fairly certain that they're original, just not to this game. That's because this game is actually not the original. This is actually a remix of a game called FNF vs. Scratch Cat by Brad K 2005. If you aren't familiar, a remix is a project that's created after modifying the pre-existing files of a game. So the reason this game is good is because the person that made the game look significantly worse isn't the person who made the original game. Overall, this one good, this one less good. Here's FNF Playable. This is a remake of the tutorial from the original game, but there's a few differences. There's no background music, so things are now a whole lot more awkward. The graphics have been swapped with Scratch assets, and the notes now move comedically slowly. There's also a total of 8 notes in the game, and then they just stop coming, and you have no other choice but to die. I will say it is a work in progress. Oh, wait, sorry. Progres. Next is Friday Night Funkin' Panda Engine. But Panda isn't the only FNF engine on Scratch. No, there are actually many more Friday Night Funkin' engines that were developed on Scratch. But the art direction and style is what brought me to looking at it. The only actual release of it doesn't have any actual gameplay. Well, it does, it just doesn't have any charting, which is something you need for a rhythm game to work. Luckily, someone charted it as a remix, and it even gives you the option for custom keybinds. Something which is great for me since I don't usually use the regular arrow controls WASD or DFJK. The engine doesn't seem to be all that responsive though, often making me take damage when I try to hit the long notes. The last game is Cubit vs. Cesar Friday Night Funkin'.
Bienvenidos al último nivel!
Fucking masterpiece. Oh. I might want to talk about it a bit more. So I have no idea what this game is. You play as Cesar and rap against Cubit. I don't know what the context of this game is. All I know is that it was developed by, you guessed it, Cesar12341234. So I think we know who the developer prefers, and that would be Sonic but red with no legs. The background music was most definitely taken from some mod, and I think that's really all that needs to be said here. I'm sorry that this video wasn't as focused as some of the other ones in this series. I really want to convey that the games shown are literally the best games I could possibly find. Also, shout out to the games that were made with original assets. That makes them automatically way cooler than the other ones. Okay, bye.